So the next thing that commonly occurred was that of Lineage. Like people were talking about Lineage. They were saying, you know, there's only two schools that are directly related to the IDF and to the founder, Emmy Lichtenfield. In response to that, Lineage is an absolute bullshit argument. You know, we don't sit there and go, you know, LeBron James is not a good basketball player because you cannot trace his trainer back to James A. Naismith, the creator of basketball. It doesn't make sense. You know, it'd be like saying that Tyson Fury is not a good boxer because you can't trace him all the way back to John L. Sullivan. Trainers aren't from that line of people. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. We should be results-based. And if we're getting the good results, then that's what it's all about. You know, and while we're on that topic, those videos that I criticise, 9 out of 10 come from those two schools. Like, there's some really bad stuff in those schools. And there's some really bad stuff from the figureheads in those schools where, for example, if you look at this video, I don't think it's too different from this one that's done the rounds and gotten a bad rap. You know, spot the difference. They're pretty similar to me. They're you know, quite comical, really, that you would waste your time doing them. As well as that, you know, people talk about the IDF as this big badass, you know, training facility and that, and you know what, it probably is. I don't dispute that at all. But here's a video that a friend of mine took who got to go over there and spend a bit of time at the training. This is their sparring. Now I want you to compare this sparring to what happens at St. Mary's Band Club under the Gladiators promotion. A friend of mine runs MMA shows here. You tell me what you think is more hardcore. Like, it's a pretty easy decision for me. And then if you want to go a step further, here's like a local Kyokushin tournament where they're generally doing the same thing they do in the Krav Maga sparring, just without the excessive padding. So again, which one is more hardcore? Which one is producing, you know, tougher, more aggressive athletes? You know, it's an interesting question to discuss. And lastly, too, if you trace it all the way back to Emmy Lichtenfield, you know, props to him for what he did and all those things, you know, I'm not taking anything away from it. But, you know, this was devised in the 40s or, you know, we've evolved since then a lot, you know, significantly. So why aren't we organic and evolving as well? Here's an example of a kick defense that he's teaching. Now, do you think this is a good way to defend a kick?